This is the Stanley Quencher. It costs $45, comes in dozens of colors, and sells out in minutes. So how did it become one of the most popular water bottles in the world? Stanley, the 110-year-old drinkware company based in Seattle, Washington, has seen its Quencher H2.0 flow state skyrocket in sales over the past 3 years, spiking the company's annual revenue from $70 million in 2019 to a projected $750 million in 2023. But when the Quencher was launched in 2016, it wasn't exactly flying off shelves. The popularity of the Stanley Quenchers can be credited to a key pivot in 2020.
When I joined, I realized that this could be something that in the right hands, with new colors, materials, and finishes, could be something that catches the eye of a new consumer, and that is exactly what happened.
Here's how a viral water bottle turned a 110-year-old company into a $750 million success. Stanley's story starts in 1913, when electrical engineer William Stanley Jr. patented the first vacuum-sealed water bottle made of steel. At the time, vacuum-sealed water bottles were made with glass and were fragile. These bottles were mass-produced and called the classic legendary bottle. The marketing for Stanley's legendary bottle was largely to one demographic: men.
A thermos bottle means more to you than a picnic. It's some kind of tough thermos bottle.
It wasn't until 2007 that Stanley made a new product, a flask. Then in 2014, it released a barware line. And in 2016, the iconic Quencher was added to the brand lineup. The Quencher was the 1913 classic legendary bottle flipped on its head. It sports a large handle and a tapered design that fits perfectly in car cup holders. The Quencher was only available in 5 colors and took a backseat to more popular bottles like Hydro Flasks, Yetis, or Swells.
I fell in love with the cup before it was a well-known commodity or before it was ever shared online, just because of the practical applications to my daily life.
Ashley loved her Stanley Quencher so much that she shared it on a site she runs with 2 other mothers called The Buy Guide. They were a huge hit on the site, but the bottles got harder and harder to find. Stanley had stopped restocking and promoting the Quencher in 2019 due to poor performance. But the team at The Buy Guide felt the cup had potential with a new consumer group.
At the time, there was nothing that had all of the features that we liked about the Quencher, so we weren't willing to let it go.
The Buy Guide team sent one of the beloved bottles to the Bachelor alum, Emily Maynard, and almost immediately, the Quencher went viral. In 2019, the team at the Buy Guide bought 5,000 Quenchers to sell on the site. Within 5 days, the cups were sold out. Stanley ended 2019 with a revenue of $70 million. Although the Quencher was getting some traction, the company's iconic classic legendary bottle in Hammertone Green was still its best-selling product that year. But changes were on the horizon. In May 2020, Terrence Riley was hired as Stanley's global president. Riley came from a chief marketing role at Crocs, where he worked with the once-hated clog that became an internet sensation. And he immediately saw the factors holding the Quencher back from its own potential.
There was no effort being put forth to send the Quencher to the stratosphere, which is where it is today. And there was no new colors, which wasn't exciting audiences anywhere. And one of my colleagues, Lauren Solomon, mentioned that there was a group of women in Utah who are the Buy Guide, and that they had taken a liking to our 40-ounce tumbler. And my experience at Crocs told me that that kind of influencer opportunity was just the magic that Stanley might need, and we were right.
The Buy Guide and Stanley reconnected and worked out an affiliated marketing deal that would feature new Quencher colors.
Some of the old school Stanley people had a very difficult time with the idea of a pastel colored cup. It just sort of felt like we were going against everything that their brand identity stood for. But we felt really strongly that for a working mom to take her Stanley all day to hydrate her throughout her day does not in any way illustrate less strength than somebody taking a water bottle on a hike.
They had a keen eye for what colors might work for their audience, and they were right.
After its launch in November 2020, the new cups sold out within 3 weeks. With a new refined focus, Stanley set out to attract new customers with new products and colors, but still stay true to its origins.
We obsessed what was happening with color outside of the drinkware industry and inside of style and fashion. As soon as we changed color, we started to change the trajectory of this brand and our company.
At the end of 2020, Stanley had released 2 new Quencher colors, Cream and Desert Sage. Sales increased and the company ended 2020 with a revenue of $94 million, but Stanley's classic legendary bottle remained as his bestseller.
So it was a slow build over many months, and then you could see that the waiting lists began to grow, and that allowed us to forecast better and bring in the right amount of products while still having some scarcity to create the fun and the frenzy and the demand.
The water bottle company spent 2021 releasing 10 new Quencher colors and experimenting with different forms of marketing. As sales of the Quencher kept going up, Stanley took its numbers proving the Quencher was a success to big retailers like Target, Dick's Sporting Goods, and REI. The stainless steel cups found their way to the front of stores and regularly sold out. Experts say social media could be a huge reason why.
Our data regularly shows that brands that go viral online perform much better among social media users on key metrics like favorability, brand awareness, purchase consideration.
History was made when Stanley's 2021 revenue racked up to $194 million, a $100 million difference than the year before. And the classic legendary bottle's reign as the #1 seller came to an end. That year, the 40-ounce Quencher travel tumbler in its new cream color was the company's new best-selling product.
Something happened and it went viral, like a lot of things on social media, and it just took off.
I saw a video of a plain white Stanley on TikTok, and I told my boyfriend, I was like, we need to find this.
I first heard about it on TikTok, liked the style, and I thought it would fit into like going to the gym.
The first half of 2020, the Quencher rolled out in 12 new colors and 3 new sizes. The Quencher teamed up with companies like Olay and Starbucks for limited edition collaborations. Tumblers were flying off shelves and selling out online so quickly that there was a limit of 2 per order enforced on each purchase.
It is extremely rare for such an old brand to be able to have this sort of reinvention, especially with such a niche consumer segment that is so diametrically opposed from what it has historically been known for.
As the bottles were getting into more hands than ever, consumers were asking the company for changes to the internet's favorite water bottle to better fit their needs.
When we redesigned the Flow State H2O Quencher, it was the first time that we'd put on new principles of design in action.
The Quencher H2.0 Flow State Tumbler launched in September 2022, with upgrades like a spill-proof design, a larger handle, and new colors and finishes. The H2.0 ended 2022 as the company's best-selling product, and Stanley's sales exploded to $402 million for the year, and the brand continued to go viral on TikTok.
Stanley did a great job of picking up on virality of their product on TikTok and investing in it further. So just a few months ago, they tapped an agency as their dedicated TikTok agency, which is something that not a lot of brands are doing at the moment.
In 2023, Stanley launched Stanley Creates, where customers can create custom designs for their Quencher online. Stanley also had collaborations with country music star Lainey Wilson that sold out in less than 25 minutes, and a holiday collection with Starbucks that also very quickly sold out.
We're gonna go hunt for the red Starbucks X Stanley. Right here. I literally walked in at 5 a.m. when they opened, got here early, and this was the last one on the shelf. I am so freaking excited.
Stanley is on track to finish 2023 with a revenue of $750 million. That's a 300% growth since 2019. The H2.0 Quencher was its best-selling product for the second year in a row. Today, the Quencher is available in dozens of colors, and since its launch in 2016, over 10 million Quenchers have been sold.
We are a 110-year-old overnight success, and so the entire Stanley brand has benefited from the Quencher trend, and certainly our heritage products have regained their velocity and their place in culture and in serving the needs of consumers.
And although sites like TikTok have been huge drivers in Stanley's success, they could potentially harm Stanley too.
There is inherent risk to attaching yourself super closely to one social media platform, especially a platform that's under increased scrutiny by lawmakers, and keeping that line of communication open to consumers across many different platforms is the best safeguard for brands from immediately losing an audience if a platform like TikTok were to get banned in the United States.
Fans like Emily say they will be Stanley users for life.
Stanley just came out with everything that I love.
When you think of Stanley, you think of, good quality and good colors, and they're always coming out with something new.
Even when they go out of style, I see myself having my Stanleys forever just because I love them so much.
But to Stanley, its 110-year-old history and additional products would prevent it from being just a fad.
When you bring originality, legacy, and relevancy together, it's unstoppable. I like to say we've turned the Quencher from a product into a franchise and now an icon.
We've been here for over a century, so the Quencher trend is certainly exciting, but we're more than just the Quencher. We have a variety of categories that will fuel Stanley's growth for years to come. Well, I'm really excited about the present, of course, but the future is so bright.